Oh, you guys hear that? You hear that? Yeah, I really gotta stop dropping this camera because I am fucking up this lens. So this is part 2 of the whole Sunnyside Cemetery exploration kind of thing. If you guys watched that last video, you were probably either scared or confused, hopefully a little scared, hopefully a lot confused, because I didn't give any context. Now there's a reason for that, and that reason is that I wanted you guys to kind of go in with a blank slate and take away what you took away and comment it below, because I was curious what somebody would take away from it, if there was things I missed, stuff like that. So it was really interesting to read what you guys said. Thank you if you commented below. Now it's time for a little context. So you might be wondering, Zach, how did you end up at the cemetery? Now that's an easy answer. I was driving with Hannah and she said, hey, there's a graveyard right there, wanna go ghost hunting? I love ghost hunting, and so I was like, sure. So we pull in. Upon pulling in, we noticed that this graveyard is very not well taken care of. It's kind of like it hasn't been mowed in a while. All the graves look really old. Some of them are broken, and it seemed right up my alley. And then we noticed this one grave has all these colors popping from it. It's got fake flowers and what looks like toys all over it. Stop the car right there. Now this grave is super cool because it has a picture on it. Now the picture ended up being of a little girl named Lucille L. Jackson, who was 12 years old and died in the 20s. Now this is obviously a really long time ago. Why is there stuff all over this grave? Out of curiosity, I googled the name, see what comes up. Apparently, there is a guy who is obsessed with this little girl who was not alive when she was alive, and he leaves all these toys, and he's actually been run off by the owner of this cemetery, and he now only shows up when they're not there. If you watch the video, then the first thing you guys see is me looking at a Nescafe bottle that is filled with what looks like blood. Now, I'm pretty sure it was blood when it comes down to it. It was really thick and red. Obviously I didn't pick it up because I didn't want anything to do with that bad juju. Upon further inspection, we noticed that there was a word inscribed on the inside of the bottle, which was weird. Hannah, of course, knelt down and was trying to read it. That's what you guys were seeing. And then I tried to read it out of curiosity, and then I was like, wait, this probably isn't a good idea. I don't need that in my life. So we stopped trying to read it, didn't want to summon anything or have anything creepy happen. So we were like, okay, we'll just leave that as is. And we pulled out the obelisk. Now we're doing the obelisk for a while, and it kind of segues with the blood into the next topic, which is sacrilege. Now at one point the app itself actually said sacrilege, which was weird because when we were looking up stuff about that little girl's grave, we found a bunch of articles about how there had been rituals and stuff that had taken place in the graveyard that involved one of them really creepy was a chicken hanging from a tree that was obviously dead, and then lots of cat carcasses everywhere, which was kind of weird because Hannah and I are both super allergic to cats, and the whole time we were at this graveyard we noticed that our eyes kept itching even though there were no cats to be found. This really just weirded us out because the only time that cats really mess with our allergies is if we've been holding them or playing with them. We can be by them and it's fine. I can even be in a house with somebody who owns a cat and I'm fine. It's just if I hold the cat or touch my eyes, which obviously I didn't do. But I mean, being allergic to cats is probably a good thing because it proves that I'm not gonna be doing any sacrificial rituals anytime soon. Regardless of all that, we had things to do, so we weren't gonna pop a Benadryl. We just ignored it. We moved on and started doing more of the obelisk and ghost hunting in general, and we were just having fun with it. A lot of things happened off camera, or I only got half of the event and it wasn't worth putting the clip in because I wanted just the straightforward stuff in that video. There is a gopher infestation at this graveyard, and so as you're walking around there's holes everywhere, but they're covered in grass almost. Hannah and I, of course, are walking around reading the graves. It's super interesting because there's so many super old graves, and I don't know if it's weird that intrigues me, but it's really interesting to just read and think about these people, and I think it's kind of nice and respectful. But we're walking around and Hannah screams behind me, and I turn around and I'm like, what? And she's like, oh, I fell in this hole. And I was like, oh, come on. And so we move on and we're walking, and later we're doing the obelisk again. I'm distracted by all these graves for small children that are all in this area, and they're all a whole bunch of small graves, and I hear her behind me and she falls in another hole, and then the obelisk just says again. Could be a coincidence, but it was fun nonetheless. If you watch the video full through, you know that as I was leaving, I noticed a grave to the left of me just as I was pulling out that said Norman, and Norman was one of the last names that I heard on the obelisk, so of course I stopped the car to get out and go look. And it ended up having the names of a bunch of names that we heard all in the same gravestone, like they were all part of the same family. It was really weird that we like coincidentally got all those names and then they were all in the same gravestone. Now it gets weirder a step further because if you guys remember, it said East Concrete Trail. When I got home, I was curious and looked at a map to see, and I'll put up a map right here and show you guys, but east of where we were parked down the concrete trail, which was like a circle, was that grave. That was the way we left, and that's exactly where the grave was from where we were standing. After all that fun, we left. We went to go get food, and then we hung out more that day, and then nighttime rolls around and we get hungry again, and we decide, hey, let's go drive around and find something to eat. So we're driving around, and at this point it's literally like 1:30, no, it was 2:30 in the morning. Jokingly, Hannah's like, let's go back to the graveyard. And the second she says those words, it just, this feeling of dread and just bad energy like comes over all of us, or both of us. And it's just, it's so eerie. Our eyes start itching again like they had in the graveyard, and we just feel like really, really bad. And we pull out the obelisk and we're like, should we go to the graveyard, jokingly? And it says like, no, stay away, and it like warns us. And it's basically like saying all these words that just mean like, don't go to the graveyard. And so we're like freaked out by that. I'm like driving to Taco Bell, and I'm driving down the straight road, and there's two turns. There's a turn and then there's a turn into Taco Bell. And I'm like, Hannah, do I turn here? Because I'm not from that area. She's like, I don't know. And so I turn, and the second I turn, the obelisk goes straight. I was supposed to go straight. So another coincidence, but it was still weird. We're really freaked out at this point with that energy and just like whatever happened to us in the car. And so we say a quick prayer, like bless ourselves, ask that anything that's like attached to us goes away. The second we do that, our eyes stop itching. We just feel like this weight has been lifted off of us. And the fact that all this happened so close to 3 in the morning, which is like the witching hour and all that, it's just, it was a crazy, crazy like feeling and a crazy thing to be a part of. And I'm really glad that it happened. I kept talking about how I was allergic to cats. So when I got home that night, I took off my clothes to shower and get ready for bed. And I noticed on my arm, right here, I had a scratch, and it was raised. And anyone who's allergic to cats knows that if you get scratched by a cat and you're allergic, it'll raise up like more, and it's kind of itchy. And so that's exactly what I had. The shirt I was wearing that day, like nothing got in there. And so it doesn't make sense how I could have a scratch or not notice it till that night. Another thing I noticed is that Lucille, now anyone who knows me knows that the ghost that was in my old house in Tennessee, I always called Lucy, which is short for Lucille. Are you seeing, like, me and my friends made a joke, like we were like, Lucifer, we'll call her Lucy, because we thought it was a little girl, like a 12-year-old girl. And this grave, the one that caught our attention, was Lucille, who is a 12-year-old girl. Also, my roommate said that it kind of looks like me. Do you see a resemblance? Now the next one that's really weird is this grave's yard was owned originally by a family called the Deckers, which is also weird because my last name is Deck. Honestly, like, this whole night was one of the craziest ghost hunts of my life. It was really exciting. I really want to go to more places like that and do more exploring because it was just so interesting. And I hope you guys liked it. I hope you guys liked the last video. I hope that if you didn't get anything from the last video, that you go back and watch it with this context and hopefully take something more from it. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Make sure to comment below. Let me know what you thought. Let me know your thoughts on all of this stuff that happened. That's all I got. I hope you guys liked this video. Make sure to subscribe if you don't already. And I really am trying to upload 3 times a week. There's lots of other videos coming, covers, vlogs, more ghost hunts, an entire ghost series that I've been working on, and I'm very excited for the future. I'm really pumped. Life is fun. I will see you guys soon. I really need to stop breaking my camera.